Is your home an ADT home? If not, listen up, gang. You need to get ADT to help protect against break-ins, fire, and even carbon monoxide. And now, for a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate, starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. That's just $1 a day. You spend way more than $1 on your morning coffee. ADT is the first security company to help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go with the new ADT Go app. ADT Go has some great features like family locator, private messaging, automatic check-ins, and safe driving reports. It even includes an SOS button with 24/7 emergency response. And if you need more of a reason to buy, you get ADT Go with a purchase of any security system. Seriously, guys, it's a great deal. Protect yourself and your family right now. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate. ADT, tested, trusted, proven. With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Well, in honor of our guest that joins us in studio, we are rolling on a Friday morning. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, live from 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, North Carolina, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Stugotz is here with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, boys. Trent, do you get mad at that stuff when I do it? Be honest. Do you get mad? No? You get with it?
Doesn't bother me
a little bit.
All right.
Not even a little bit. not even a second.
Can we say what I did when I first saw you?
Well, let's set it up.
Morning?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Again,
let's do the whole radio thing. Let's set it up as, Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo, Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show. Stugotz is here, part of our leadership retreat. Cliff, play the sound. Golic and Wingo leadership retreat.
Cliff!
There you go.
For crying out loud!
You got to
play the sound! Play the sound! No dead air! Just play Wingo sound!
There you go. That's what we were waiting for. Thank you, Stu.
God, I love you.
Thank you.
All right. So
the setup was when Notre Dame played Miami, I had a bet with Dan Le Batard.
Yes.
And if I lost, which I did in a big way, I had to massage the glutes of one Stugotz. Yeah. So that was a bet, and
you never did.
Well, we had never been in the same room since that time.
Yes.
I wasn't going down to Miami just to do that, and you weren't up by me.
That would have been a very Stugotzian move. You got a trip to Miami just to do
just
that.
to massage.
But Mike, great point. There really wasn't much incentive for you to come down there or me to go up there.
That's exactly right.
Correct,
I mean, I didn't want to massage your glutes, and I didn't know if you wanted me massaging your glutes. But we saw each other here this morning, and what's the first thing I did?
You massaged my glutes.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. So in the words of Tiger Woods, glutes activated.
Yeah.
For our leadership retreat.
Yes.
And it's a good
Finder's
thing.
number 2.
It's a good thing, too, because we threw it out there on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. If you got questions for Stugotz, put them here at 1-800-Flowers, hashtag Twitter view for Stugotz. The number one question coming in was, had the glutes been massaged?
Yeah.
So we've answered a lot of that for people so far. Stugotz, you greatly enjoyed it, too.
Oh, I did, yes.
You know what? I may do it again.
And you should, because you only did it for about 30 seconds. I thought the bet was 30 minutes.
I know I owe you more. It'll just be in segments, if that's okay, because I'm not really going to do it while we're on air here.
I think this is a good. We stumbled upon something here, Mike. 30 seconds at a time.
There you go. I like that. Then we can both recover.
You guys have set up a glute payment plan.
Yes.
And you know who's very interested in this plan?
Yeah.
Murray! Murray is very interested in this payoff plan. Now, explain to me, for those that don't listen to the Le Batard Show with Stugotz, you should. Explain to me the impetus behind you always chasing a Murray.
So, we're trying to get Lewis Brinson into the All-Star game.
Correct.
Yes.
It's going okay.
It's not going well.
No, I was being kind.
In large part because, now I love Guillermo, and Mike knows Guillermo very well. Guillermo hasn't really led the charge the way, I would lead this.
Correct.
He's not ready to take the slings and arrows the way that Stugotz.
He's got a cause. He's not certain he wants to go full steam ahead with his cause because I don't think he knows if he can pull it off or not. So he recruited me to cold call for him.
Right.
And so, I was telling the guys about the days where I used to sling munis at First Miami Securities and,
Hold on. Sling munis.
Tax-free bonds.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to make sure. I'm thinking muni golf courses. That's what I was thinking as well. Like, what are you talking about?
You got a one-track mind. And so, there was a time where, and I used to love cold calling. Now listen, most people hate it. They despise it.
You are the best.
But I loved it because I just enjoy talking to people, right? So I used to rip pages out of the phone book, but I would always look for like a Saul or a Murray or a Maury, never a Jimmy. Because a Jimmy, what happens with a Jimmy is you cold call a Jimmy, and all of a sudden by the end of the phone call, you're buying something from Jimmy. Right. Jimmy's not buying something from you.
Jimmy is Stugotz and Stugotz, basically, right?
Exactly right.
Okay.
But Maury, if you could just get like a Maury in Boca Raton or Aventura or one of those places, you just get it past the 10-second threshold, and you've got Maury.
You're in.
And then all of a sudden you're having lunch, you're having an Arnold Palmer, maybe playing a little bit of golf, and you go home with a $500,000 check at the end of the day, okay?
Nicely done.
For the bond house, not for me, of course. I just take the commission.
You get your commission, though.
Yes, of course.
Awesome.
And so they asked me to call people and try to solicit votes for Lewis Brinson, which I did. We called the Murray in Aventura, actually, and Murray ended up voting for Lewis Brinson. So
there you go.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Again, Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show with us in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts.
And I guess to say he's in studio with us because of the leadership retreat, and we're all going to
Cliff.
golf at
Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat.
We're going to be playing.
Very
After
good.
this show, we drive down to Pinehurst. We each have our groups we're playing with. I heard there's a trophy involved, to which I said, well, we need to figure out handicaps. And, of course, Trey, who's a better golfer, Mike, than you and I, said, we don't really need handicaps.
Do we really need handicaps for a scramble,
we're going to get some handicaps for this.
I think we do need handicaps for this. I know we have the scramble going.
Yeah.
Are we going to have anything on the side going?
Oh, absolutely.
Trey, let me tell you this. You are absolutely the best golfer.
I don't think so.
No, Trey,
I think you're probably better than me.
Trey, I'm telling you, I'm not better than you.
Okay.
Okay, I could tell.
All right.
Okay.
Managing expectations.
Boy, he is,
And my neck is hurting a little bit.
I woke up with something in my elbow.
So we're going to have to discuss this
25 handicap.
We're going to discuss this throughout the show, the handicaps and what
Give me the
direction
strokes.
we're going to go.
Because I'll tell you this, I played in terms, and they always say, "What's your handicap?" And it's 90% of the handicap. I'm like, I don't need that. I'm just trying to hit the golf ball.
Yeah.
You guys figure out the math. I don't know, but if it's a scramble, I don't know how you play because you don't know what shots you're playing.
Well, what if I'm playing with guys that are all my handicap, and you're playing with guys that are all a 10, and I'm playing with guys that are all 25? That's not fair.
Luck of the draw. NBA draft lottery.
You know what?
NBA draft
All right,
lottery.
we'll see what the luck of the draw is, and that 7-iron hits you in the back of the head. Let's see how that works for you.
If it's after the ninth hole and I'm still walking,
Can I please see that?
It could happen.
it came close the other day. I'm not going to lie.
It evens out for everyone when the rules of beer a hole. It's amazing what that'll do to your guys' motor skills.
There you go.
Swing oil will be a necessity today. It's only going to be high 90s with 80% humidity, so I wouldn't worry about
We'll
it.
be on Pinehurst,
There
too.
you go.
We'll be okay.
We'll be all right.
It's 70 degrees and sunny whenever you're on Pinehurst.
We live in Bristol. Yeah, I scouted the comfort stations. They are plenty. All right, let's get to what we're supposed to be doing with what's trending. This is important. So I'm told. Big men dominated the top of the draft with DeAndre Ayton going first overall to the Suns, followed by Marvin Bagley the third to the Kings. Again, Mike, either one of you, it's the fifth time in the common draft era, going back to 66, that players taken 1-2 in the draft averaged 20 and 10 in their final college
Last
seasons.
time, 92, was Shaq and Alonzo Mourning. That's a nice 1-2 pick there. As I said, centers went, 5 centers went in the first 7 picks of this draft. Big news early on was Doncic getting taken by Atlanta, Trae Young by Dallas. They flipped players there. So Dallas has really been coveting Doncic. And then, of course, we're going to get into the Michael Porter situation where could have been at the top of the draft.
Right.
Knicks passed on him, gave their reasons why, and got booed for it. And then where he ended up at number 14 in the draft.
Denver.
So a lot to get to.
Yeah, and again, by the way, Stu, we were having this discussion. There's a rule in the NBA draft that if you don't have a trade worked out by 2 o'clock in the afternoon of the day of the draft, you can't trade picks. So you have all these awkward moments like Mikal Bridges and his mother. Whoa, we're so excited. We're going to. No, you were traded. You were traded away to. It seems like a weird and bizarre rule, right?
It does, yeah. Like I would like for them to be able to trade right up until the time they make their pick.
Like the NFL does.
Right, so she works for the Sixers, right? And she thought her son was going to be working. Oh, wow. That's That stinks.
If she wanted to know, she should have just asked Woj. You see what Woj was doing last night on Twitter? The Stugotz is strong in Woj last night.
He couldn't help himself. I'm so proud of Woj.
Oh, it's incredible. He works for us now. Woj made his living and made his name leaking picks before the draft and said he wasn't going to do it.
Yes, and Mike, let's be honest. Whatever the Knicks did last night, they were going to be booed.
Oh, they were going to be booed.
I
really wonder if you test that if they did draft Michael Porter Jr.
Right. Well,
if they really would have booed
We'll get
him.
into that in a second, but back to Woj.
Back to Woj, Mike.
Back to Woj. The situation was there was an agreement that he would not like all the
tip the pick.
But everybody was supposed to be in on that.
We did that in the NFL back when I was covering teams. I would get the pick early and tell Berman, and we'd say it, and then the NFL basically had that thing stopped.
Right.
So they wanted to do that in the NBA as well, and Woj kind of found a way around it.
Yeah, so Woj's old protege Shams over at Yahoo, there was this agreement, and then all of a sudden we see the top 2 picks get tweeted by Shams, and so Woj absolutely loses his mind.
He ain't having it.
It wasn't having it. Had to remind everyone who Daddy was, so he tweets the top 6 picks, and then going through the night does this. So he won't say anyone selected anyone.
Right.
Woj busted out the thesaurus right here.
Okay.
And he stunted. So here, Woj, sources, the Sixers are targeting Villanova's Mikal Bridges.
Targeting.
Sources, the New York has been focused on Kentucky's Kevin Knox.
Yep.
Source, Cleveland prefers Colin Sexton. Chicago is zeroing in on Wendell Carter. Orlando was tantalized on selecting center Mo Bamba.
Baby.
He did it all. Whoa.
Wow. That's so he used those buzzwords instead of saying this was the pick. Yeah, Woj was having none of it. He was having none of it.
But that's off the top rope. When the guy comes in with 2 and you say, here's 6, I mean, that's coming off the top rope.
Listen, I'm going to say it. Sham stopped tweeting about 20 minutes before the end of the night because he realized that Woj had come back through.
Here's the best part of it. If you think about Woj's move, I can't tweet out the picks during the draft. I'll do the top 6 before the draft starts.
Yeah, how
there you
about
go.
Right. It's unreal.
Walk away, mic drop on the ground. Okay, you guys, as we continue what's trending, the Knicks didn't trust Michael Porter Jr.'s surgically repaired back, Mike, and they didn't trust the medical information his agent was desperately sending to teams. Scott Perry, in his first draft as the Knicks GM, instead selected Kevin Knox with the 9th pick overall. So they just said, hey, look,
don't trust it.
We're not sure what we're seeing from here, right?
We don't trust it, so we're not going to take him. Obviously, the boos, but I really do wonder if the Knicks took Michael Porter Jr. if you would have booed, because they boo everything. But man, that everybody's talking about Porter being the pick of the draft. He ends up going 14 to Denver, and overall it cost him right about about $19 million overall, just on the distance of the number 1 pick to the number 14 pick. But the Knicks said Michael's a very good player. Tonight we're talking about Kevin Knox and why we took Kevin Knox in the draft. But the bigger reason is, why didn't you take Michael Porter? And it was they were not satisfied with the injury situation.
Mike, as a Knicks fan, I will tell you, if DeAndre Ayton fell to the Knicks, Knicks fans would have booed.
They would have booed. Really?
Yes, it's just
all right.
It's a tradition unlike any other. It's Knicks fans boo. That's what we do with Jet fans as well. I'm okay with the Knicks not doing this. Now, the Knicks not taking Michael Porter Jr. means Michael Porter Jr. will find himself in the best Hall of Fame one day, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm okay. The Knicks have to be safe here. They can't take many chances. They don't have a lot of assets. Porzingis coming off injury. Who knows what's going to happen here in free agency? So I'm okay with them, Gojo, going with a safer pick here.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the refrain this offseason, especially from Stephen A. Smith now, that because you've got Coach Fizdale in there, he'll get the meeting. He might not get the free agents, but guys respect him enough to come and have the meeting.
Correct.
And that is some sort of victory for the Knicks now in the offseason. That, we can get him in the door. We're not going to be able to keep him here. But, man, they are going to come in the door, they're going to love the lobby, and then they're going to promptly leave and go to a better team.
Well, by the way, the kid that was crying when Porzingis was there, and he was there again last night and booed.
Yeah, and booed again.
The pick of Kevin Knox. But I tell you, I give Knox all the credit in the world, because what's the number 1 rule in almost any situation?
Whether
you're doing radio, you're calling Murray's, know your audience, right? And listen to this. Kevin Knox clearly knew his audience.
I mean, I've been here a lot of times, but one thing I haven't done is try the pizza. I heard they're really known for the pizza. I haven't had pizza in New York, so that's kind of what everyone's telling me to do. I'm really looking forward to get some pizza.
Yeah. Nice move.
Right? Well, they're not known for their basketball. So
yes. Complain about public transportation and you'll be good to go, friend.
Just avoid the Subway and try the pizza. Ray's original, famous Ray's original Ray's. There's so many different kinds. It all sort of runs together. And we continue with The NFL planning to suspend Bucs quarterback Jameis Winston the first 3 games of the 2018 season for violating the league's personal conduct policy, that according to league sources. This all stems, again, from the NFL's investigation of the allegations that he groped an Uber driver in Phoenix in March of 2016.
I mean, there's so many tentacles to this thing of the Uber driver made the complaint to Uber but didn't do it to the police, but that doesn't matter in the NFL. If they look at it and find that you had something to do with it, through the policy, they can still suspend you, to the differences of Jameis decided saying there were 3 people in the car and it was another person that groped the young lady, to her lawyer saying he was the only one in the car. I mean, this thing is a mess all over the place, but it leads to the bigger questions of Jameis Winston. I mean, came in with a reputation, has done some certainly good in the community, but also some red flags that continue to go up, and his play hasn't been the greatest in the world either as they look to go forward and possibly give him a big payday.
Yeah, so it gets you thinking about the Bucs and the long-term future that he has with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whether or not they'll give him an extension, give him that big money based on this story and based on his play on the field. It starts getting you thinking about all the stories that you've heard about Jameis Winston going back to college. So it certainly is interesting. Mike, how do you feel about the NFL kind of doing this, kind of making their own judgments and their own rulings on stuff like this
before?
I'll let Mike say, you said it, Mike, and you're right. They've made their own bed by getting it. And I think in the long run, it was either you get involved. If you don't, everybody says, why didn't you?
Sure.
And then you got involved, and they say, oh, now we're too involved.
Yeah, you were never going to win in this, but I think ultimately you'll have made more problems for yourself by believing that you can do law and order better than the U.S. courts can do law and order. The thing that becomes more interesting with this is how is the response from Jameis Winston and his camp, because we saw Zeke Elliott fight this tooth and nail. It was a story that took up a lot of the NFL season last year, kind of hung over their heads, and they've had a lot of that recently. For Jameis Winston, will the financials dictate that? Because someone pointed this out. Jameis Winston, if they pick up his fifth-year options, due like $20 million next year, the amount of money he'll miss if he takes this suspension now and serves it under this year of his contract will be markedly less than next year. So maybe it's incentive for him to take this suspension now, get it over with, and for the NFL, if you're them, again, forgetting the legality, forgetting the morality of this, and worrying about the PR aspect for this league, that is the only thing you can hope for, is to get this done clean and quick.
The one difference of this is with Zeke, because everybody said, Zeke, just take the suspension, but there's the union involved. And the union, they're saying, wait a minute, we want to fight this. I mean, these are our only battles is when we can fight, and if it eventually gets to court.
Fight, Mike, right?
Well, they do. They have to, while they're not, it's not always just for that person. It's for the larger as well. So they rarely want to hear the person just give it and say, I'm going to serve my suspension. I'm going to go away quietly for a little while and then come back when they're going to want to fight.
No, they want to set precedent for players going forward. Again, we're here in Raleigh, North Carolina, as we're getting ready for our leadership retreat later on today. Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show is with us. So here was Adam Schefter, who was on with Spain and Fitz, explaining why the NFL is going into the business, Junior, what you were talking about, of suspending Winston.
It stems back to the March 2016 incident with the Uber driver. And again, what didn't happen, the NFL has investigated this for weeks and months. And Lisa Friel headed up this investigation just as she headed up the one on Ezekiel Elliott. And I think Lisa Friel and the NFL determined there was enough evidence to suspend Jameis Winston for some period of time.
And that period of time will be determined. They could find out as early as Friday. And the first 3 games, if he gets suspended, strictly on the football field alone, it's a really rough start there. I think they play the Saints, Steelers, and the Eagles.
Saints, Eagles, then Steelers.
Wow. That's tough sledding.
Even with Jameis, it was going to be a tough. And then you have Ryan Fitzpatrick, the guy, 14 years in the league as the backup, who
and has made $1.5 million starts.
Presumably would be the guy in there. And again, that's separate. There's the football side, and obviously the side of this that would deal in sexual assault or whatever, allegedly, however this is going down. And boy, what a difference in stories there are.
Well, that's the weird part here. I mean, it couldn't be any more different in what one side is claiming and what the other side is claiming. Again, Ronald Darby, who apparently was a teammate of Jameis's at Florida State, said he was in the car and he and Jameis were in the back seat. And somebody else, the unknown third person, unnamed at this point, I'm sorry, if he's there, they obviously knew who he was in the front seat, and he was the one that did this. And the attorney for the Uber driver says, no, there's only one person in the car, and that was Jameis Winston. Listen, we don't know what happened, but Uber believes something happened because Jameis Winston's Uber privileges.
Well, the NFL feels like something happened.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And again, the Phoenix police said there was never a report filed, but again, that doesn't have to happen for the league to step in. And if they find guilt according to their policy or breaking of their policy, then they can go ahead and suspend you.
And Stugotz, I said this before, but for Jameis Winston, for Ezekiel Elliott, when you've got these kind of big issues on your resume, things that are already associated with you, major things, sexual assault, things of this nature that have been linked to these guys in the past, and then you sprinkle in all the little instances along the way. For Zeke Elliott, it was that car accident. It was showing up at the medicinal marijuana shop. That instance where he was accused of punching a DJ at a nightclub.
At the parade. For,
I would say pulling down a woman's top at a Mardi Gras parade. Mm-hmm. And then for Jameis, you've got this. You've got him jumping up on the table in college. You've got him, telling all the little girls to sit down at that thing. And all of those things that aren't nearly as, they're not crimes, they're not egregious, but they get lumped into this, and they kind of create the perception around Jameis Winston where, I'd be interested in your perspective. I mean, speaking for the everyman, you kind of lose the public benefit of the doubt when this much stuff stacks up, don't you?
You do. Mike, I think people can look past some of the small stuff. It's this particular story with the Uber driver. It's a story going back to when he was at Florida State, where those things start to mount up, and as fans, you start to wonder about the guy from a team perspective. I do wonder, not just the Bucs, if any team would be willing to go long-term, big-time money for Jameis Winston at this point, because you have some of this stuff, and they seem to be mounting, right? It's, little story after little story, then a big story, then a little story, then another big story. It's starting to mount up, and I do wonder if teams will want to sign him for big money long-term. I certainly wouldn't if I'm a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm done with Jameis Winston. Like, the production on the field with some of the stuff off the field is just not enough. It's not worth the headache for me. And listen, if some of this stuff is true, it's not going to matter, right?
Right. Well, that's the point. Look, the better you are, we all know this is, the longer leash you're going to get. And I think it's a very legitimate question to ask, just how good is Jameis Winston going to be? We had Jeff Caruso, was that his name, from ESPN Tallahassee?
Jeff Cameron,
I'm sorry.
I mean, Trey, he hasn't been that good. Like Zeke Elliott's going to get a much longer leash.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly. Correct. Look, they loaded up the offense last season for Jameis, right? They brought in Djax. They brought in all these weapons. They drafted the tight end out of Alabama to give them two looks to go along with Brayton. They had Mike Evans there. They had all these things, and that offense took a huge step backwards last year. So we said this at the Super Bowl when we had Marcus Mariota on. We thought that 2018 was going to be a critical season for both Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston on the field. Now you add all this stuff onto it. I don't know if they're going to be done with Jameis Winston, but I don't think they're rushing to sign that fifth-year extension at this point.
Golic
and Wingo.
And Wingo.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr. Jay Billis now joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Of course, you know him as our draft analyst. Fifth overall pick, not fifth round.
No, fifth round.
Fifth round?
Yeah, the 86
wow,
draft,
fifth round pick in the 1986. They don't even have a fifth round.
No, they
pick
do.
anymore.
Listen, I was in the 10th round. They don't have 10 rounds anymore.
Wow.
Would you quit rubbing it in?
It's a really kind way to introduce our guest.
Good
Trey.
morning,
Good
Jay.
Lord.
Gee, sorry, Jay.
How are we?
Good morning, gentlemen.
So are you taking credit for a lot of inebriated people at the draft last night with Wingspan?
Yes, last night was a lot of long-armed people, but last night, thanks to the Supreme Court, was the first night you could place a prop bet on how many times I said wingspan, and shockingly, our friends in the desert put the over-under at 4.5, which I blew through in the first two picks.
4.5? I mean, that's one of the first times I have ever seen Vegas be so far off on something. I'm stunned at that number.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to be having my own plane starting tomorrow, because I put a few bucks on myself.
There you go.
Nicely done.
Good move there. Hey, AJ, what do you make of, we talked about the center draft, 5 centers in the first 7 picks, the way the NBA is going right now with the big men that play away from the hoop?
Yeah, that was an interesting one, Mike, because I was thinking myself about sort of the idea that if we're going to positionless basketball and the three-point shot's been such a vital part of the game, especially lately, and we've shot more threes than ever in the last couple of years, are big guys as valuable as they used to be? And should we put guys like Trae Young even higher, or Colin Sexton, or Luka Doncic, all that stuff? But I still think these big guys, have the best value in this draft simply because they're mobile, they can protect the rim, they can really run. So I don't have a problem with some sort of DeAndre Ayton going number one. I don't think you can. Now, if you could guarantee that Trae Young was going to be as good as Steph Curry, then maybe we'd have a big argument. But I think DeAndre Ayton is going to be really good. And I think Phoenix had an excellent draft, trading for Mikal Bridges and then getting Elliot Kobo at the first pick of the second round. He's a first-round talent. So they got three really good players in the draft.
Jay Bill is with us this morning, our draft expert, and does everything for us, everything you could possibly imagine, whatever we ask him to. Jay, one thing that was really interesting is the Michael Porter situation. He fell. I mean, we're looking at a guy who a lot of people thought had top 3 talent, but there was concerns about his surgically repaired back, and the Knicks came out and said, look, we just didn't trust the medical information that his agent was giving us. How much of this was medical related with Michael, and how much if it was actual basketball related?
I think most of it was medical. There were some issues going around about how good of a teammate he is, whether some things in his background were of concern on the character side. I don't think it was that big of a deal. I think his talent would have trumped those things if the medical would have been better. And you know how it is, Trey. I mean, there's always going to be a point in the draft where you're saying, okay, well, it's worth the risk here because if we could get a talent of that level. Just taking the risk is going to be worth it given what we could get in this slot. But for, the last pick of the lottery, 14, for Denver to get a player that, a year ago he would have been the number one pick in the draft. If he could have come out of high school, he would have been the number one pick. And that's one of the things, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but when people are saying, hey, we need to get rid of the one and done rule, I think folks forget how bad the situation was back in the early 2000s when high school players were coming into the draft. Not only the draft mistakes that were made, but sort of the idea that, we had NBA teams in high schools, that colleges were recruiting guys, wasting their time recruiting guys that were going to go pro. We're about to, if we get rid of this quote unquote one and done rule, we're about to go back to a system that was failing before. We're going to trade one bad system for one that was worse. And all the college coaches seem to forget that they were in favor of the one and done rule when it came in. And now we've seemed to blame every problem we have on one and done. But Michael Porter's got a chance to be a really good player. But if he's not healthy, I don't know what good it does if you draft him at 14, 10, or 2. If he can't play, if he turns out to be like one of these Greg Oden players that his health keeps him from playing, it doesn't matter where you draft him. But if he's healthy, he's the best big man shooter in this draft. He's got a fantastic stroke, and offensively he can really play.
Jay Billis with us in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jay, Luka Doncic was the other big name that was a part of this conversation about the new NBA. And I'm curious, because Mina Kimes brought it up when she was on with us yesterday. How much does it mean, veterans help rookies all the time, but for Luka Doncic to have a guy on his team now like Dirk, a guy who was a European player who came over here to kind of take him through that transition?
Yeah, I guess the European part helps a little bit, Mike. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal because Doncic is different in that he's the most experienced and accomplished player of his age to ever come from Europe into the NBA. I mean, that dude's 19 years old, and he's been playing legit pro basketball since he was 15. I mean, he signed a contract with Real Madrid. He's from Slovenia, but he signed a contract when he's 13 years old. So he's not one of those guys like Darko Milicic or Nicholas Skidishvili years ago where we didn't have a lot of a body of work in 5-on-5 against big-time competition. He's played more big-time basketball than any other player in this draft, and this was nothing but young players. I mean, I think if I heard it right last night, there were only 2 seniors taken in the first round. I think it was Jerome Robinson of Boston College and then Chandler Hutchison of Boise State, and that was it. Or maybe Grayson Allen, too, but that was it. Well, wait a minute. Jerome Robinson's a junior, so it was only 2. It was Grayson Allen and Hutchison.
Don't doubt yourself,
and,
Jay.
Yeah, so it was only 2, and so we're looking at nothing but young players, and Doncic is the real deal. The only thing that you could say that would stand between him and being a great NBA player is he's not a spectacular NBA athlete. Like, he's a really good athlete. You don't do what he does without being a really good athlete. But by NBA standards, he's not gonna be one of these run and jump guys that does it with his athleticism. But skill wise, his vision, his ability to pass the ball, his use of pick and rolls, it's absurd how good he is at his age. So he's not like Mike Schmitz, our one of our draft analysts, had a great saying. He says he's got the highest floor in the draft, which to me means, look, this guy's going to be really good. The only question is how good, like how great can he be? And I think it's fair to say that we could look back on this thing and say, you know what, that dude should have been taken number one. And there were a lot of teams that thought he should have been. But just because you think DeAndre Ayton may be better or have a higher ceiling doesn't mean that you don't think that this guy can play. I don't know anybody that thinks he's not really good.
Jay, who's that guy that's name wasn't brought up a lot that went in the first round, that sleeper that we're going to say, oh, okay, maybe we should have talked a little more about him?
You know, for me, and I was surprised he went this high, but there were two guys. One was Kevin Knox from Kentucky. You know, 6'9", can really score, and he's kind of came off earlier in the season kind of this sleepy player that wasn't as assertive all the time and kind of feeling his way around, but really talented. And I was not his biggest fan in the first couple months of the season, but then when I saw him play against West Virginia at West Virginia when Kentucky was about to get blown out, I mean, he was awesome. He had 34 in that game, and I remember Dan Schulman and I walking out of the building, and Schulman looks over and says, "That dude's a lottery pick." And I was like, "Yep, I think you're right." I think the Knicks got a really good player there. You know, I hope he does well in New York because I think he can really play. And the other one is, even though he's small, is Aaron Holiday out of UCLA. You know, he played behind Lonzo Ball that one year when Ball played at UCLA, and I think a lot of people thought, well, you know, he's not as good as Ball, and maybe he's not. But one thing he can do, like that guy is a bulldog. He's not afraid of anything. He's got a long wingspan. He's like he's 6'1", 6'2",
Everybody
but
drink.
his wingspan's 6'8". Yeah,
drink again.
It's a little early, but
yeah,
I agree with you. But he can really play, and he can score. He can pass. I think he's the best ball handler in the draft, and I ranked him at number 16 overall, and I think he has a chance to be very, very good and could really be. I guess you could, to your question, he's the sleeper along with Knox.
All right, we'll see how those guys play out. Jay, we appreciate you getting up early with us this morning. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, Jay.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Golic
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it.
and Wingo.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is your home an ADT home? If not, you have to get ADT and help protect against break-ins, fire, and carbon monoxide. For a limited time, get ADT's lowest rate starting at just $28.99 a month from the most trusted name in home security. Go to ADT.com/podcast to take advantage of ADT's lowest rate.
With 36-month monitoring contract, early termination and installation fees apply. Excludes taxes and fees. Applies to traditional services only. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com.
I'm a one-trick pony. Literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter. When Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la. Aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
This is the segment that spawned from the dark recesses of Junior's mind.
Yes.
And it's a perfect segment for Stugotz to be here with us. You want to explain it, just so we know?
I mean, this segment was inspired by Stugotz. My prolonged exposure to Stugotz. We used to do weekend observations together. The podcast is coming, I swear, guys.
No, it is.
It really is.
We are very, very close to having this done.
It's right on the edge. We're negotiating some last minute things, but no, it's this idea that if you want to really multiply any hot take, the minute you've got it out there, all you got to do is say book it on the end, and immediately it just multiplies it up. It sounds like you're that much more confident. So I'm going to start it off. I'll give you the example right here.
We're playing Book It right now?
We're playing Book It right now. We're playing
go.
Book It with Stugotz. We got him here. We want to honor our guest. So, got the draft last night.
NBA
draft last night. Everyone gets to pick their own. I'm going to start it off for you guys. I'm going to show you how it's done. Dante DiVincenzo was the best pick in the draft. Book it.
Wow.
Wow. No elaboration? That's it?
None?
I
love those horns more than anything on the
That's
show.
awesome.
I do. I did.
Oh, yeah. They're there. Stephen A. plus horns.
Yes.
I'm not booking that one. I'm not booking that one.
I thought everyone gets to pick their own.
You don't have to agree. Yes.
I was looking at the sheet.
It's on the sheet.
I thought we were all going to judge it.
It's a fill in a blank. Now, you can judge mine, and I'll just say based on this, Milwaukee's clearly gone in on the idea of athletic phenoms, and while White Dante may not be the guy you initially think of with that, sneaky athletic, we saw it through their postseason run. This guy can jump out of the gym.
I think he's Rhode Island's Jordan is where they refer to him. Rhode Island's Jordan. All right, you got one, Stugotz? You want to pick one in the draft and book it? Who is it?
Kenny Knox going to be the best player in this draft, or Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox. What about his twin, Kevin Knox from Costa Rica?
Wow, yes, his twin brother from Costa Rica. Costa Rica. I've never heard of him until last night, but enough people that I trust have told me this kid is the next Paul George, and the Knicks could use a Paul George. So I think he'll be the best player in the NBA draft.
Book it.
Book it.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with.
Don't take my guy.
All right, I'll let you go.
No, you go ahead first. You go ahead first.
Lonnie Walker.
Oh, you took my guy.
Man.
I hate you.
Lonnie Walker.
The
18th
fourth or something, right?
The fourth. For San Antonio. Obviously, we're going with our kind of our sleepers here a little bit. It's too easy to pick DeAndre Ayton as your number one. Lonnie Walker going to San Antonio, going to get coached by Pop. I think that's a great spot for him. Shows incredibly well. Was a little consistent in some areas, but if anybody's going to get him consistent, if he can, certainly Pop is going to be able to do that there. And we know the teams they build there, even though they're in a little bit of flux now with Kawhi Leonard.
You can book it?
Book it.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay with Lonnie Walker as well. Oh, chimes. Someone else has just made a selection.
There you go.
Hold on.
God.
What happened? All right. No, but I'm going with Lonnie Walker. I'm going to show you guys this photo, and here's why. This is Lonnie Walker after he got drafted and put on the Spurs hat.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How beautiful is this? How beautiful is this?
So great radio.
We're describing it.
Here's a picture of Lonnie Walker right now.
I wanted
that you guys
them
can all
to see it so I can tell you. Lonnie Walker is shaking Adam Silver's hand, and his hair is so high on his head that the hat is nowhere near the actual skull of Lonnie Walker.
Yeah.
There's about 7 inch. It looks like it's an illusion.
Right.
It looks like it's a magic trick.
Like it's just floating in the air.
And that hat is just floating unattached to anything over his
The magic trick is how you're ruining my segment right now.
So for 100% of the audience in today's show, you're going to have to look it up.
So Google Lonnie Walker shakes Adam Silver's hands.
Yeah.
You can book it.
I'd like to change mine.
Oh,
dude.
Stugotz has a revision?
Well, I mean, the problem is I didn't have the entire draft in front of me. Trey was hogging the entire draft.
We all have those sheets.
I don't have that sheet. I do not have that sheet.
You were
and the only guy we've talked about this morning is Knox, so that's the only name I can remember.
Kevin or Kenny?
I think it's Kevin.
Yes!
I think it's Kevin. I'm going to go with Robert Williams from Texas A&M, the kid who went to the Celtics. I believe he will be the best player in this draft. Book it!
So
Good big man. There is a question of his motor, Stugotz.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yes.
Classic draft term.
Here we go.
Question of his motor.
I'm just glad you said motor.
All right, let's keep it moving. I wonder what Lonnie Walker III's doing, by the way. Anyway, speaking of Lonnie Walker and the Spurs will eventually trade Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers. Book it.
No chance. No chance. Why would they want to build a super team in the Western Conference?
Well, here's what I don't understand, and I get what you're saying there, Trey, but in a year it doesn't matter. Yeah. In a year, he said he's going to be with the Lakers. So my thought is get the most you can for him. If it's with the Lakers, great. If it's with the Celtics, then go to the Celtics. But I don't think the thought process of is we're not trading into to a team and helping the Lakers out when Kawhi has said, hey, anybody who trades me, I'm not staying with you more than a year because I'm going with the Lakers. So what the hell does it matter?
But Mike,
get the best deal.
I agree with you. Get the best deal, but you got to shop them first, right?
No, I'm with that.
You got to call Boston, who has the most assets.
I agree with that.
You want Kawhi for it might be a year, but maybe Stevens and Danny Ainge can convince him to stay longer. And if Boston's willing to give up more assets than the Lakers would to get him for 1 year in an effort to win a championship next season, you got to explore that. You have to.
Look, Paul George was supposed to be a rental in Oklahoma City, right? Now there's the possibility that he may stay with the Thunder. Plus, he's given up tons of millions of dollars if he doesn't sign a max deal with Oklahoma City. And Kawhi Leonard seems okay to do that in with the Spurs. But again, I hang on to him like I would, like if I'm the Cavs, I never would let Kyrie go to Boston last year. I would have said, no, you're staying with us and we'll figure it out when you're a free agent. If that doesn't work out, fine, because LeBron is probably leaving anyway after this past season. I don't understand why they just give all the access to these players when they don't really have to. And GM of the Spurs, R.C. Buford, who, by the way, if your name is R.C. Buford, you can only be a GM of the Spurs, the Mavericks, or the Rockets. You have to be in Texas, right?
Yes.
As R.C. told me as he was coming down from the saloon.
That sounds like a guy who could sling a muni or two.
And there you go.
No doubt.
R.C. R.C.
That's a guy I want. That's a guy I would cold call. He has a good RC.
He said their stated goal is to try and repair this relationship, not to try and trade him. So I'm not sure if they're just going to give him to the Lakers. Maybe they'll let him go there in a year, but I think they're going to hang on to him or trade him somewhere else.
Yeah, this is one I think they got to put up a good front, but they're going to give in eventually. Anyway, as we move on here,
please
NBA draft fashion statements last night.
Yeah.
Suit shorts are a good look. Book it. I'm gonna get right out in front of this one. I'm a big fan. I'm already working, getting on the phone with my tailor, making sure I've got suit shorts.
Here's the
for
problem.
The
I think only because basketball players are like perfect hangers for clothes.
Correct.
I don't think football players can get away with this.
Saquon could. Have you seen those thighs?
Well,
my God.
I would look too bulky.
But I don't think they look good with big thighs.
I agree. So I do think the basketball. I will book this. I think for basketball players, it is a good look.
Oh, so you're making a caveat.
Yeah, but you're saying I think we're just asking if it's a good look, period.
No, I'm saying for basketball players.
Okay, just for basketball players. Who amongst the four of us would look best in this particular suit? Would it be Mike Golic Jr.?
Probably.
Oh, I have great legs.
Yeah.
It's been called my best attribute.
By who?
Women.
Whoa.
Oh, how many?
Enough. The one that counts.
The ones that matter.
One would be enough, wouldn't it?
They say if you reach one person,
there you go.
It's done. I am not booking the shorts thing. If LeBron can't pull it off, nobody can. And LeBron did not pull it off.
I've reached one person.
There you go.
Sure.
How great was that? He gets up, tirade, press conference, gets up, grabs, essentially a man's purse, and has shorts on.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
And then says to somebody, to one of our guys, be better tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. But, I mean, if anyone could have said that night, it was LeBron James.
LeBron.
We all
Exactly
needed
right.
to be better the next day.
Yeah, it was impressive. All right, to finish this one off.
Do it.
A Golic will win the inaugural Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat Golf Tournament. Book it.
Listen, I second that. You can absolutely book it. There's a trophy on the line. We're going for it.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That's adorable
Yeah.
that you guys think you're going to win. That's adorable.
Well, I will tell you this. I can make that happen for the right price.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Yeah, see, Trey's thinking about this straightforward.
He is.
I'm thinking about this more along the lines of what Stugotz is A, we got to play around with the rules a little bit, institute some things that are going to get Trey a little bit off his game. I know Stugotz can drink and golf with the best of them. Trey, I have to see whether you're going to be able to weather the tidal wave that's coming your way.
Who ordered the double Friday when we were playing?
Yeah, the one double.
Yeah, well,
you had one.
I had one hole to play.
Fair point.
How many?
Well, let's see if you can. As our favorite game to play is he's on pace for. Score 2 points. He's on pace to score 210 points today.
Yeah.
Trey was on pace to drink 18 double vodka cranberries.
Yeah. Do we?
I would have liked to seen that.
Have we decided
You
about?
can book it.
Have we decided about mulligans yet? How many we get?
I think
how many we can buy?
Carry the 5 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. That's what you said.
Hold on.
One per nine at least.
We're doing a deep dive on that. We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
By the way, 30 for 30 podcasts have returned. Subscribe to 30 for 30 podcasts right now on the Listen tab of the ESPN app or on Apple Podcasts. Brought to you by Delta, where it's our goal to connect your life in the air to your life on the ground.
Golic and Wingo.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold. It's very interesting where that went.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio today, live from 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, North Carolina, as we are getting set because just a few moments from now, we are headed down for the first of many inaugural
Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat.
By the way, we're advertising for a new board op.
Yeah.
This has been
ZipRecruiter.com, man.
Yeah, I tell you, great sponsor.
Cliff, we've loved having you on the show, but it's time to move on.
Trey, it is. It's moments for me. You have an hour and a half still of show to do. I will be there at moments on the range, getting ready for our match today.
Well, no, I may be going with you and have a stunt double come in and finish.
And by the way, real quickly, for those going back to the college football season, Notre Dame played Miami. Dan Levitard and I had a bet. I lost that bet, and I had to massage the glutes of one Stugotz. It's the first time we've seen each other. Have I massaged your glutes?
You have. You did so for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We're doing this in 30-second installments.
Because that's all we can take.
29 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, there you go.
The weird part was we thought it would be weird for the two of you. While my dad massaged Stugotz's glutes.
I believe we were hugging. Yeah.
Yeah. There was...
Yes.
Tough call.
I can't. We got a little echo going in right now. So
there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
It's Cliff sabotaging us.
I
now.
wonder if this is how it's coming out on the air. Because this is, because I like to keep it this way.
That might be an improvement.
It's like a karaoke machine effect.
Okay, so we'll get to this in a minute. But Golic and Wingo is presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. Surprise a friend or loved one today with a bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. When you order a dozen multicolored roses for only $29.99, you get another dozen absolutely free. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. So again, in just a little bit, we're all headed down the road to Pinehurst. Stugotz is with us for the last hour and will be with us through the end of this hour as we're going down for the leadership retreat at Pinehurst number 2. Pinehurst number 2 has done a great job. The whole Pinehurst resort taking care of us. Wait till you see the donuts on a stick and the breakfast and everything else they've got. It's going to be fantastic. But this is a competition.
It is.
There is a trophy.
Yes, there is.
And we need to figure out exactly what we are competing for and how the competition is going to be set.
Well, I believe it's going to be a scramble.
Right.
I think and I know, Stu, you're bummed about that.
I am. I want to play the course, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to, partake in the scramble, but also just play the course.
Right.
So
I get that, but overall, we all agree.
Each of us have a foursome, right? We have 3 listeners that we are playing with.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a scramble format. Now, this is very, 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 the Stugotz is strong in our listeners. My listeners, the guys from our show, they didn't show up.
Yeah.
To be fair, the guy got sick and he couldn't make the trip. So I
don't care what his excuse is. I'm actually proud of him, Trey. It means less responsibility for me. This is a win-win for me. I hope he feels better. Okay, but I'm playing with 3 of your listeners.
Right.
So I don't know who they saddled me with. That's why I don't want to rely on other people when I play golf.
None of us know who we're golfing with.
Right.
So we agree. We're agreeing it's a scramble. Okay.
I have the foursomes, by the way, if you would like to know who we're playing with who.
Oh, yeah, I saw those as well.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like to read them, you can.
Stu will be playing with where is Stu here?
Okay, you're
not there.
It's going well.
No, I don't see you. I don't see you anywhere.
Yeah, let's.
Okay,
I don't
move
think
on
you
then.
read those.
Yeah, no, this is worthwhile, but we've gotten through it, and now we'll just discuss the rules and the prize at the end of this because we need to figure out what's at stake more than anything else.
Okay, are we doing handicaps? I'd like to hear from people out there. We're doing a scramble. Do we need handicaps?
Well, Trey, I don't think in a scramble. If me and Trey are playing each other, or we're doing a little 2-on-2, or me and Mike are playing each other, then I think our handicaps come into play.
Correct.
If we have some side action in a scramble, I don't think we need it.
I don't think we need a handicap for a scramble.
What if the 3 people Trey is with are all tens like him?
That's the wild card. That's the wild card.
Lucky
we can't
draw.
control that.
Right.
I'm actually with them. Trying to factor handicaps.
All right, no
into
handicaps.
Is way too confusing.
All right, that's fine. I'm good with that. No handicaps.
Are we playing blue tees or white tees? My plan was to play the whites, just so you know.
Yeah,
okay,
the white tees.
I want to have
we're
an
not playing the
enjoyable
tips.
experience.
No,
Yes.
not happening.
I don't know. I mean, Pinehurst is going to be number 2 is great, but those greens are not enjoyable. Have you played it, right? Have you played it?
No, this is my first time playing it, but on the way over, the guy who drove me over here said, I go, what's the key to playing that course? He said short game.
Yes, use your putter.
He said you cannot hold the greens in that course.
Okay,
when all else fails, use your putter.
All right, so we're playing we're not playing the tips.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Just so we're clear, because I checked it out.
Yeah.
They have the U.S. Open still set up, so you can play from that. Okay.
No.
Then it's blue, and then it's white.
White.
I'll go
White.
white.
We're going white.
Playing the white. Okay.
Thank God.
Are there any?
Oh my God! Feels so much better.
Any mulligans?
I usually go 1 per 9. There's a
1 per person per 9.
I think first hole you get 1 automatically.
Yeah, agree with
2
that.
off the first tee. 2 off the first tee, and that's not part of the mulligan thing. That's just separate issue.
That's just warming up.
2 off the tee.
Right.
Okay.
Then I normally go 1 per 9, but I'm okay if we,
1 per 9 per person. So it actually for a team you have 4.
1 per 9 per person. Yes.
1 per 9 per person. Fair enough.
Okay, so 4 per team.
Yeah,
4 mulligans.
Yeah,
okay.
yes.
All right. Okay. Good.
Yes.
I like that.
Now, do we have any side action? That's kind
well, that we can decide when we're on the course because I absolutely see that.
But the problem with deciding on the course is we got to get it before we get there because we'll be going out in different times before we get to the course.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's not a shotgun start.
I will tell you what. I have a nice, I have an hour drive over there.
Yes.
I leave in about 20, 25 minutes. I will take the liberty.
Take me with you.
You can go. I'll stay. I will take the liberty of coming up with some side bets on my drive there.
Okay.
And I'll present them to you guys. Doesn't mean, we all have to agree on them, but I will take the liberty of coming up with a few for us.
All right. Well, hold on.
I like that.
That'll have me winning. Right.
That all have you winning?
Yes.
How is that? Oh, here we go.
I'm playing to my strengths.
Pinehurst just tweeted at us. Here's the game today. It's not a scramble.
What?
Not a scramble. Foursomes as teams. Everybody plays the course. Best ball, Stableford.
I don't understand. I don't know what that is.
What do you
Stableford.
mean?
What's it?
Isn't that like counting upwards or something like that?
I don't know what Stableford
maybe
is.
too complicated.
Plus,
Let's go back to the scramble.
Plus,
we're here going to that course. I think we could determine how we want to do this
because
thing.
if I'm in a group, I got 20 handicaps and one of them's like a 9.
Right.
We're just playing his ball the whole time and we're just kind of hitting for fun.
Right. You're not doing anything.
Yeah. So
that allows you to keep the score for yourself and play the course if that's what you so choose.
You want to contribute, though. Yeah.
I want to scramble.
Scramble's fun.
I don't know if they allow a scramble.
What do you mean they allow us? We go quicker. We'll actually play quicker than playing our own
Let's
ball.
put it this way. If scramble is where they're going to draw the line on things they don't allow, they're in for a really long day for me. Because I got a bunch of things in my bag that are not allowed on most golf courses.
Is there water? Is there water on this course? I brought my fishing pole.
Yeah, there's. Oh, God. Help us. Yeah.
I did that in the tournament.
Mike, I go fishing on my course all the time.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yes. It would be the most Golic thing ever for you to whip out a bamboo rod with a bobber.
When Mike was at the New Orleans Saints camp,
it.
When he was in Saints camp at the Greenbrier, they would practice. I took my fishing poles out on the 16th fairway. They had or 16th rather on the green. They had a lake there, and I was catching bass.
Trey, here's what's going on. Okay, these two will not take this thing seriously. No. You and I, we know if we don't act on our best behavior today, we're never getting the invite to Augusta.
Listen, I had to make sure that Junior didn't pack his romper. Okay,
you don't know it's not in there.
That's out. Mm-hmm. No, in my mind, I have to know it's not in there. Just so you know, and that's where you're going out ahead of me because in my mind, I have to know. I have to know that it's.
I had to try out that Speedo for the bet I'm paying off to Dad. Where do you think it's making its debut?
Oh, wow!
I am so torn because I don't take anything seriously in my life except this one sport. Yeah. I want Mike and Mike to do what they would normally do on a golf course.
No,
but I'm kind of with Trey. I don't want to embarrass ourselves at Pinehurst number 2.
I'm going to look for a spot to take a Pinehurst number 2.
So, all right. Some dude tweets in and said we're allowing one mulligan per person on the 9. So some guy tweets in no mulligans on putts, boys. Who said that, Brian? Brian, when are you allowed to make
Brian, do me a favor.
That's exactly right.
Brian, do me a favor. You use your mulligans however you want to use your mulligans. We'll use them however and whenever we want to use them.
Amen to that.
Yeah, that's got to be the way to do it. Again, we're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And on ESPN right now, you're seeing the video of Lonnie Walker trying to put that hat on his head, and it is absolutely spectacular. It is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Trey, what is the circle of friends in terms of putting? What is the, how close do you have to be for you to just say, hey, pick it up, you're good?
Yeah.
Inside of 10 feet?
Yeah. 15. We'll go 15. Listen, it's all about pace of play, right? We're just trying to help everybody out with pace of play.
Again, you mentioned what Pinehurst tweeted. Foursomes as teams. Everybody plays the course. Best ball, Stableford. Have zero clue what that
In other
means.
words, everybody plays their ball, and whatever the best score is on that hole, that's what you put down. Like, if you got the best score,
I see. Okay,
you say you got a 4 and everybody else got a 6 or a 5.
See,
Your score,
I don't like that.
4.
If you have one golfer that's better than everybody else, you're just going to be playing his card the entire time.
Mike, I'm pretty certain,
baby.
I'm pretty certain you can get that change, Mike, when you get there.
Yeah, I say we go.
You want to scramble? You get a scramble.
Pinehurst's been very nice, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with this.
Listen, since I'm getting a head start, not only will I take care of the side bets, I will ensure that this is a scramble by the time Mike Golic gets
I appreciate that very much.
All right, we will figure all of this out. And by the way, there's one hard, fast rule.
Yeah.
If we're keeping score. You cannot Mickelson your ball on the green. You cannot Mickelson if it's not for the score.
Why not?
You can't.
Mill Tickelson.
That was our line. If his name was Mill Tickelson, nobody would have been DQ'd. That's exactly right. All right. So again, by the way, Stableford scoring is 1 point for a bogey, 2 for a par, 3 for a birdie, etc. etc.
That's way too much.
No, I think it's just best score. We're gonna go best score. I
don't want to think
out
there.
No, I don't either. Scramble.
Yeah, thinking and golf usually do not go well together in any way, shape, or form.
Take care of this on your ride down there.
I've got it.
Thank you.
We've got it. All right, coming up, we asked you for questions for Stugotz, and I will say these questions celebrate the entire selection.
Oh, boy.
Golic and Wingo.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Hey, Golic! You've got nothing. Poppy, talk 10 seconds of trash toward the Golic. Tell him we're going to crush him in Family Feud.
Oh, this is just a warm-up, buddy. We're a little bit rusty, but the second time around is going to be epic. We're going to kick your you-know-what.
It's fitting. I just got called a poor man's Dan Le Batard on Twitter, which is great because Dan makes a lot of money. Yeah. Sports Center is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. If you shower, brush your teeth, or try to make your hair look presentable, Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. I don't know why that's in question.
The question I have is if you shower or brush your teeth. I want to meet the people that don't shower and brush.
Yeah, where it's
Actually,
optional.
You know what? I don't want to meet the people that don't shower and brush their teeth.
You don't have to worry about meeting them because everyone who listens to our show does stuff with Dollar Shave Club. They have everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best, and they deliver it to you. Try the club today. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Golic.
All right, we're good. By the way, Golic and Wingo reminding you to tune in this Sunday as Bryce Harper and the Nats host the Phillies, presented by Wendy's. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 7 p.m. on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and the ESPN app, and 8 o'clock on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app.
All right, we're on our Twitter view. Questions for Stugotz, as this is the last couple minutes with us before he heads down to Pinehurst.
Probably going to leave this segment a few minutes early.
All right, no.
Make him no. By the way, Stugotz is playing through the pain right now. His headphones literally just fell apart.
They did.
He looks like a headphone pirate right now.
Ryan wants to know what's going to be the first thing to apologize for your golf team, for your golf teammates.
Oh, probably my language. Yeah. I'm thinking probably my language, and probably right off the first tee, because there'll be executives there. I'm assuming right from the course, and they'll be watching us and. Yeah, it's gonna be my language. I won't apologize for my game because I will win our team some holes, but I will apologize. I got a bad temper, man.
There you go. So, by the way, before we get on, you and I sort of were on this island here with everybody else about Phil, and look, I get it. He lost his mind, but when he started to say he had that rule in his back pocket, I was like, come on, man.
I've never felt more alone than I did the day after.
We were together on that one.
I know. My entire staff was blown away because I'm not the serious guy on the show.
Right.
Except for this one thing where I become super serious. It's just... He would not have done it at the Masters. Let's put it that way. He would never have done it at
Stopping his ball off the 13th green.
And if you're going to do it, just own it afterwards. And say, hey, I was trying to make a statement. Course is too hard. USGA. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
He shied away from that.
Not that I have a rule in my pocket that I've been waiting to use for a long time. Which is very Stugotzy, by the way.
Stugotz, that's why I said his cover-up at the end or his excuse at the end was worse than the actual infraction. Because if after that round, if he'd said, my bad, frustrated, it'd have been forgotten.
Yes. It's still bad in my eyes. If he does it and then owns it afterwards, not nearly as bad as it was because he didn't own it.
Okay. By the way, before we move on real quick, you mentioned the first tee. The first time we ever played Pinehurst number 2, the starter's there, and he goes, enjoy your day, and no mulligans on the first. So, of course, I dribbled it like 30 yards.
We're absolutely doing
mulligans. As soon as he said that, I was like, Mike,
that is rich.
I love the announcing the starter because somebody tweeted in, they wish Jerry would do the town crier of us each teeing off.
Jerry, hop on a flight. I'll pay for it. Let's go.
That would be awesome.
Get down here.
All right, Ben wants
to know. Want me to tell this guy, the starter on the first tee, that he's about to get 16 mulligans?
Without a doubt. There's a lot.
I'll take care of that too.
I'm not sure if it's as hard and fast as it was.
You got a lot to take care of. All right, Ben wants to know, are you more likely to keep up with Golic and Wingo donut intake or beer intake?
I would say, well, I've tried the donut thing with Mike Sr., and I lost. So I know I can't keep up with him there. I probably cannot keep up with either of you when it comes to beer, but I'm going to do my best today. I would have a better shot at beer than I would at the donuts.
What about tequila if we take it to your home court?
You lose.
Yeah. Attaboy.
Yes, that's my guy. That is my wheelhouse right there.
That's my guy.
Listen, if it goes to tequila, Pinehurst loses.
Okay, hold on. Pinehurst is losing already.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be clear.
Just by
this is an L for Pinehurst in every way, and we know that going in. We are owning the fact that we're giving them the L.
All right,
I got to get to the most important question on this list right now. I'll give you plenty of time, Stugotz. This gets to the heart of your being.
Yep.
You can only choose one of these: a Super Bowl win for the New York Jets, or a lacrosse championship for your daughters.
Well, can I say one thing is never happening, so this really makes it very easy.
Now, again,
that's a mean thing to say about Stugotz's daughters, all right?
Yeah.
No.
Stugotz as coach. You still coach him now?
I still coach him,
Coach his daughters who are lacrosse players, and you're very into it. You've been kicked out of tournaments and things like that. So, which one?
Wow. Are we talking... just your average weekly tournament or
national championship?
And it's not, and you could have it in the state of New Jersey, which I know is wrong to you recently.
Yeah. I'll give you national championship.
So my daughter goes to a D1 college, which she's headed down that path as it is. She goes to a D1 college and wins a national championship in college, or the Jets just winning a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
This is a tough question.
Jets.
Wow.
Love your H.
Yeah. Wow.
Thanks for the scholarship.
Smokes.
Listen, in college I ain't coaching her, so
how about if you're coaching on a team you're coaching? How about if you can coach your team to a 13, 14-year-old national championship?
You
and
get all the accolades.
You're the coach.
I got 4 letters for you. J-E-T-S, Jets.
Unbelievable. The Stugotz is strong in you.
Unbelievable.
The Stugotz is strong in you. You know what? Wow. I respect that so much. I can't even begin to tell you how much I respect that
National
answer.
Coach of the Year for the Jets doing a Super Bowl.
I turned down my daughter winning a
That's a
national
good point.
And they always say,
forget about me.
They're used to you letting them down, so that's nothing new.
But hold on. What position does Rach play?
She plays attack.
Okay. Now, if she
scorer.
played maybe defender, I could understand. If she plays attack, she's going to light it up and help win that national championship.
Right, listen, it's a win. The Jets win the Super Bowl. We lose the national championship, but Rachel still has 8 goals in a losing effort.
There you go.
Yes.
We're good.
Yes.
We're good.
Legacy's still secure. Great postseason performer, and the Jets get to hoist the Lombardi.
Father of the Year. Yeah. Coming up, we're in North Carolina, and next we're going to Russia.
Oh my God. It's just unbelievable. It's just an embarrassment what's going on.
More importantly, we'll have a new board up on Monday.
Wow.
Stay with us. We'll be back. Golic and Wingo from Pinehurst. Cliff is fired.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or just ask your smart speaker to play Golic and Wingo. Plus, you can check the guys out live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN News.